What up, peeps? It's your girl Dash. Come back to Real Takes. Well, it's that time, you guys. It's reaction time, and this is the House of the Dragon. This will be for episode 4, King of the Narrow Sea. Now, before I jump into a quick little recap of episode 3, which I so enjoyed, just seeing now that present day some time has passed, we see Viserys and Alicent now have, a son, another baby on the way. They're doing some festivities, of course, honoring the king and, of course, their son. And you can just tell the tension, and I'm not surprised, it is what it is. And I'm looking at his son, I want to say maybe a year old, year and a half, not even, almost 2 years old, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember if they did say he was at least 2. But needless to say, Rhaenyra, she just wants no part of it. She kind of stays to herself. She really has no desire to be a part of any of this. But your father seems to have other plans for her, of course, trying to marry her off, whatever. And you see that comes ahead when we get, introduced to seeing one of the Lannisters talking to her, pretty much eyeing her up and down and all that, talking about I'll build some space for the dragons. Like, you ain't got no dragons for what? For my queen. Like, I didn't have this conversation with you. Oh, you had it with my dad. No, she doesn't want to get married. We all know what she said in the first episode, but in the instance, there are certain things in the protocol within the family that they have to eventually marry and add to the family. But she's just very strong-willed, very independent in that manner, and her father, it's like the way you went about stuff, he had it all wrong. And that's why you have the strain you have with your relationship. Your daughter pretty much really wants nothing to do with you. She does not respect you. She doesn't even trust you right now. So, and then you're dealing with the stuff with, of course, Daemon, with Lord, Valerian over there trying to deal with the, crab, grabbers. And it's just crab feeder, excuse me. And just dealing with a whole bunch of nonsense and all that. Still fighting. I would have thought it would have been done, not taking over a course of a year. But in the instance, he, of course, I'll deal with this later. We can deal with it in another couple of days. Just not really caring, but okay, this is the king, this is how he feels. So in the instance of all that, you see some guy did speak with Otto in regards to, now that he has a son, you need to, speak to, Viserys to kind of woo him into the way of making his son, Aegon, the actual next, heir in line, whatever. And he's like, I don't know if that would be possible. He said, you need to, push and make it that way. And of course, he's going to talk to his daughter, Alicent. And then she feels a certain way about it, saying, you want, my son, to do his sister like this. And he's like, this is his right, whatever. Yeah. None of this should have happened in the first place, but it is what it is. It just moves the story along. But all he's worrying about is kind of stamping himself out with his family, making sure they're straight. He doesn't care who he has to manipulate or use to get it, even his own daughter. Hence why she got close to Viserys in the first place, whatever. So it's almost like, when will this end? But, it is what it is. Now with Daemon and, Lord Valerian over there dealing with it, of course his son is also involved, and the uncle, they finally, find a way to deal with the crab feeders. But of course, Viserys, decides he doesn't want to help. And then when she sees the letter, Alicent, he's like, this is a cry for help, whatever. He don't want to get involved. She's like, well, do you rather want to keep dealing with crab feeders, or you want to deal with, them overpower? Then it looks like you had opportunity to be of some use, even if you only sit in 10 ships. And how, as he said, 2,000 men? I'm like, yo, okay, that's it. But I like how in the end, when he saw the letter, Daemon was just like, whatever. They set up some sort of, situation. Looked like they gave up, white flag, whatever, and all. Let him get close. And he got inside their space in order to kind of, thin it out a little bit to get the rest of the actual, troops and their men to come in there. And of course, with the dragons. And I was here for that scene. I was just like, oh my God, yes. And I'm glad he was able to go. I really wanted to see a little bit of a showdown with the crab feeder and Daemon. I was mad when it just showed Daemon just doing what he does best. That's great and good, but I really wanted to see that. It was just like, wow, that was real quick. He just cut him in half. But it's, oh well, it is what it is. But I will say one other thing before I jump into it. I like the discussion between Viserys and Rhaenyra in regards to, if it was all about doing the right thing, you would have married, Rhaenyra's and Lord Valerian's daughter if it was about advantage, and he didn't. He specifically liked Alicent. You chose to do that. You didn't say anything to your daughter when you had the dinner, when you could have at least forewarned her. She walked right into something she knew nothing about, pretty much showing no regard or respect for your daughter. So that's why I particularly don't care for him out. I think he's just very nonchalant about a lot of damn things. How to deal with his family, and also with being king. Getting drunk on a stupor or whatever and all that, and not sure now if you made the right decision about your daughter being heir, because I didn't think I would get married or I'd have a son. Like, really? it's hard for me not to side eye the hell out of him sometimes in some of his moments in here, but it is what it is. So with that being said, rambled on. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'll say the rest of my thoughts at the end, you guys.
Right. It is well fortified against any future Dornish incursions. And though...
Unseemly, Princess.
The man is older than my father. It's unseemly for him to put himself forward as a contender for my hand.
Next.
If chosen as your match, Princess, your day shall be easy, and night safe, under my protection.
Protection? The princess has a dragon, you dumb cunt. Craven.
We're leaving. It's ridiculous pageant.
Oh my!
Don't look, Princess.
Take cover!
Add it to the chair.
Yourself king.
Once we smash the Triarchy, they name me King of the Narrow Sea. But I know that there is only one true king, Your Grace. Right.
Congratulations on the victory.
Like,
Perhaps Prince Daemon would care for a tour of the gallery.
Would you like to see the tapestry?
He has no interest in such things.
Those men and boys don't fawn over me. They only want my name and my flowing blood for their offspring. Took it must be to get imprisoned in a castle and need to squeeze out heirs.
oh,
What anyone sees when they look at me now is the Queen. I've missed you too. Cela você bom álbum. Imagine que pen nog in the control. My father seems content to sell me off to whichever lord has the biggest castle.
You know worse things to be sold for. The Ajari Abijosa. Azari.
Zugos Glasilum Jalundaur.
Lord Corlys is said to have engaged in negotiations with the Sea Lord of Bravos. He plans to wed his daughter Lena to the Sea Lord's son. We would have to seek our own marriage pact. You have a far kinder touch than they do.
Thank you, husband.
Who will it be? The brother, the daughter, or the little princeling of 3?
Aegon should be the heir.
Their wants are of no consequence. The king has requested your presence. The hour is quite late. Yes, Your Grace.
no, he didn't. Oh. Mm-hmm. So you don't know if we're going to it, but.
Daemon?
Oh, oh, oh.
Messenger brings word from White Worm.
Oh my goodness, this little boy.
You can pay for the room on your way out.
Daemon and Rhaenyra were seen together in the bowels of the pleasure den. To seeing her, the princess, creeping through the gates from King's Landing, disguised as a page during the hour of the owl.
You would have my daughter stalked, spied upon, awaiting your best chance to destroy her reputation.
Leave me. Once.
You fucked Daemon in the pleasure house. This is a vile accusation. Is it? You Targaryens do have queer customs.
Oh.
Daemon certainly knows no limit.
No, girl, spare me the shamefulness. Spare me.
I was only a spectator.
You acting all of a sudden like you high and mighty. Get the fuck out of here.
Never touched me. I swear this to you, upon the memory of my mother. Kings strive to find you a good match, and so have I. That Lord, to think that you were being
To understand the charge before I can attempt to discredit it.
You defiled her.
You have ruined her. What lord will wed her now in this condition?
Who gives a fuck what some lord thinks? You are the dragon, your word is truth.
Rhaenyra, I take her as she is and led her in the tradition of our house.
Oh, wow.
You're already wed.
That didn't stop Aegon the Conqueror from taking a second wife.
Go back to the family. As long as you are gone from my side for good.
oh my blood. Come the prince that was promised. And his will be the song of ice and fire. You've yet to ask me for the truth of what happened.
The truth does not matter, Rhaenyra. Only perception. You have exposed yourself. Now we must both suffer the consequences. Your courtship is at an end. You will wed Selena Valerian, and you will do so without protest.
And what will you do about the vulture who perches upon your throne?
What vulture?
Your hand. He wants Aegon to be named heir, and he will stop at nothing to see it done, including spying on me to bring about my ruin. I will do my duty as heir, and with Selena. You must first do yours as king.
How long did it take you to choose yourself over your king? Your interests no longer align with those of the realm. Your judgment has been compromised.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Like the
Uh-huh. Thank you. Peace out.
I'm sorry, what is that?
tea, princess. From the king. It will rid you of any unwanted consequences.
All right, you guys. This episode was really good. I tell you, so many things can happen when a rumor is spreading and finds its way to the king. You're seeing, of course, setting up for the beginning where you see Daemon show up and the king, after he has won the battle, killing the craft eaters. And you can see there's a little bit of tension, but in the end, his brother thanks him for taking care of the whole situation, all that, and having it where they can kind of pretty much move forward. Now, granted, you see him when he looks over, and I'm talking about Daemon looking over at the hand, Otto, whatever. Like, you can tell he don't particularly care for that. He tries to keep anybody from around, truly around Viserys, more so it's just being him and a couple other people, but it's mostly just he wants to be the one who's always right there in his ear, whatever. But needless to say, so you see a little point where they're kind of joking around and he's talking to him. And then you see, of course, Alicent, and eventually you see Rhaenyra come up, just kind of making small talk and trying to see if they want to kind of go around and look at some stuff around the home, whatever. But of course, it's nothing of no concern, and they kind of brush off Rhaenyra like, oh, well, you can go and see this, because he's mad because in the instance, she is looking at possible suitors. Not like none. One's old enough to be older than her dad, and then one who's younger than her. But I will say that one that was younger, he was being kind of bullied by somebody. And I really thought when he pulled his sword out, he was wanting to be the one to get hurt. But he did the most damage, and I was here for that. Don't let the small size fool you. Also, seeing how... I just know there was tension since the first episode with Daemon and Rhaenyra. So seeing that she comes across, a bag, whatever, and some directions of a closed little... wall or something you want to call. I want to say like a hidden door, hidden wall within the room where she ends up going out and she meets with Daemon. Now they kind of hide amongst the people, fully disguised, and kind of drinking, watching some little play where they're talking about her being maybe the next king. But what about her brother? They don't want her, the daughter, it'd rather be the brother. And you can tell she kind of feels a certain way, and rightfully so. You can tell Daemon kind of eyeing that. But then it's just like, they eventually leave. It's like, it is what it is. She's still considered to be the next in line. So as much as some people are not feeling it, it doesn't matter what they think. If it happens, it's going to happen. So eventually progressing through the night or whatever, you see her end up in what looks like to be, I want to say, what did they call it? The pleasure den or something like that, I think he called it. And they just kind of walking, and she's like, something, wrong with, men pleasure something as well as women and all that, taking what they want when they're down there. And you kind of see things take a little shift where all of a sudden, Daemon, slightly a little aggressive and all that, but she doesn't seem to kind of push him away. And you feel like something's about to really happen. A little bit of kissing did happen, but then you see him kind of asking a little bit, her, body up to the wall, whatever, she's kind of into it. But then all of a sudden, when she kind of reaches out to give him a kiss and all that, all of a sudden, I don't know if it's because of her being a little bit of an aggressor in that moment, he didn't find that, appealing, and he kind of shrugged off, or if he just decided, I don't want to do this, take her virgin, all that, she's considered a virgin. Well, he all of a sudden brushed on, and she just left her. And I was mad at the fact that he took off her disguise with her hat. It's like, why did you do that? I can see if you're down there, so at least she has something to cover herself. But maybe I really recognized her, hence this young boy who actually did. And Daemon ran off, so he leaves her unattended. God knows what would happen to her. She ends up just walking into her room from the front. I thought she was going to go back to the back. Sir Christian's manning her room, wondering what's happening. And we can see some other stuff happen. She ended up getting with Sir Christian. I'm going to tell you, I know I like them together. I really wanted them to get together, but it looks like some other stuff is going to actually happen where it will not be so, but they did have their fun. I think for her first time, she wanted to be with somebody she really liked, and I think she really does like him. Yeah, it was a nice moment. It's just fortunate. Fortunately, it won't last long, and then hence where all of a sudden somebody shows up to Otto, giving him the information This young boy did not see exactly. He saw that Daemon ran up like, oh, and she comes running after him, clothes on. Nothing happened. They did not go all the way. So you're putting out there a full rumor because they were down there. Okay, they went down there, but like, when Viserys makes his comment to his daughter, it's like, yeah, it doesn't matter even if you didn't or not, whatever the perception out there. You were in a position where you're in a situation and somewhere that you should not have been to in the first place in the wee hours of the night or morning. And a lot of people want to just think anything. You're in a pleasure den area where everybody is having sex. So it's just unfortunate that he shows up, tells Viserys, and you can see Alicent hiding, hearing what's being said, whatever and all that. Can't believe what she's hearing. And eventually she decides to meet with the queen. And of course, the look on her face, oh, the virtue, we're trying to set you up, to find you, a husband, your father. And I'm like, girl, spare us the judgment. I don't have nothing here for her. It's like, yeah, she used poor judgment, but you're in a position because you see your whole agenda is pretty much set up because of your daddy and you want to ride along with it. So it's like, spare me this whole thing where you feel the way, because you could see how she was carrying on when he asked for her, the king, wanted to see, and she's like, it's kind of late. See that clearly, and as Otto said, they're in love. No, don't look like it, because I thought they were still sleeping in the same bed. I didn't know she was in this room, he's somewhere else, and then they're sleeping, and all of a sudden they're having sex, and you can tell clearly she's not excited because she just looked so just not wanting to do it until he locked eyes with her. Then she put on a smile. Some individuals know how to play the game, like, yeah, they want it, I really don't, whatever, let me please you, and then we're gonna get this over with so we can move on. So I just, yeah. So her sitting there having this little face, saying this, but she had to clean it up. Rhaenyra told her, what she told her. She left out a little bit, even though nothing truly transpired. But yeah, there was some kissing. You're not going to admit that part. I did not on my mother's. And I was like, yeah, you could partial truth. But in the end, like I said, you set yourself in a situation where you can't really get out of it. People are whispering, a couple of people did see you there. Once he took off her hat, it was done. It was like Daemon was all about himself. He pissed me off when he did that shit. Excuse my language. So in the instances of him showing up all drunk, whatever, after, that woman giving him something to drink, whatever, I was like, whatever, like, you deserve that. And he's like, give me Rhaenyra. I'll marry her. I'll make this. And he's just like, no, go back home. Go home, be with your wife. As he called her, the Brawn Bee. I said it earlier in the reaction. Oh, well, that's what we keep calling her. I really want to see who this wife is supposed to be. I don't know if we're ever going to get a look, or he's just going to talk ill of her, and that's all we have to just gravel with, and not knowing exactly who this person is. We're not going to get this. I don't know if maybe we get a season 2. We'll finally get to see her. Because I'm just like, I want to put a face with the name. So with that, he pretty much came, at the beginning, was feeling probably missing the comforts of being there, King's Landing, and then you come here and then you do that crap and almost put your niece in a bad predicament. Slightly she put herself in that, went along with it, but thinking he would do something like that, I would not dare trust anything from him. I was like, stay far away from him. So pretty much Viserys and Rhaenyra have a conversation, and she is now to marry, and I want to make sure I'm getting his name right, Sir, Lenore Valerian, which is, of course, Corlys Valerian's son. So it looks like that's who she's going to be there. He was a part of the guys who went to deal with the crab feeders. I think he would probably be good, so I love to see that we're going to see a little bit more of him. Anyway, first, she's not happy about it, but in the end, she has no choice now. As her father put it, you are my political headache. We need to tighten this allyship between the two. He needs to make up for it, because Corlys is just not happy. He was considering another family to wed with his son, but now it looks like he probably spoke with him and he's going to try to make amends. And it's probably better this way, like this. I prefer it, as opposed to him was going to possibly Viserys marrying that girl who doesn't even look like she talking about some 12. She looks like she's 9 or 10 years old. Oh my God, just looking at it, I was horrified. So it is what it is, but I love how she was like, I'm going to do my duty as the heir, but you need to do yours as king. And I loved this scene of him having a nice little talk with Otto, putting things in perspective, how he's been great, this and another and all, but a little too close. And you definitely, as much as you like to say you have an agenda, he really does. He has his own agenda and everything. I'm glad she put it in mind. He wants Aegon to be the next heir, whatever and all that. And he's going to do whatever he needs to do to make it so. And it's like, you don't seem to realize that. And when he finally told him about how Alicent, like, oh, you love her and she loves you. Alicent doesn't. She cares for Viserys. She does not love him. That girl does not love that man. She was put in the situation because of you. You did not give a damn about your daughter. You were doing anything that will help you get your title, whatever. And you can clearly tell her. That's why I was glad he brought it up to him. And the look on his face, acting all shocked. What you shocked for? You weren't shocked when he finally decided to pick Alice and sitting there giving that smirk to Corlys. Whatever. I'm not even here for him. So when he took that damn pin off him, that was such a beautiful moment. I couldn't like, yeah. Oh, look at his face. He's like, I appreciate your services. You can go now. I'm like, peace out. I love it. So he ain't got nothing to do. You're not the hand anymore. I look forward to see who else it would be, but I'm glad it is not him. You have done enough. He has his own agenda. He always will. He will use his daughter to get to where he did. Hence, he already did. And he will do more. So I don't put nothing past him. And I'm really itching about that damn tea, like your father. Why do I not believe that? So I'm not sure if she drunk it. We'll see, if she's okay, if she did drink it, if something happened. But I'm more worried about her father. This is the last part I want to discuss. When he showed him having his moment with his wife, his back. He's already lost 2 fingers. What's going on with his body? It's like he's deteriorating. So I don't know, towards the end of this actual season, something happened to him or going into hopefully another season. But I'm just like worried. I'm like all these sores on all these different parts of his top part of his back, and then lower part, whatever. Just, yeah. It's almost like, I know Otto's probably like by this time because he's around him to know he's dealing with all this, even his wife. So they're just wondering this, and probably she's gonna definitely set herself up and make sure she's secure if her son is. So you all they're just waiting. But see, I'm glad that Otto is no longer around for that part. But the daughter now, once she sees, because she will probably be a little hot when she realized he get let go of her father, but in some ways probably maybe a little bit of relief in that instance. But no, he gonna still be in her ear. Just because he's not in that room, when he sees her to come visit her and his grandson, he'll try to put stuff in her ear. I don't put it past him to still find a way to have something to say. There's no way he's just going to stand idly by now, even though that pen's are removed and he's no longer in a hand to keep doing what he needs to do to say anything to get what he wants. In the end, you will never be king. So that's already a given. So, it is what it is. So in the end, great episode. I'm looking forward to the next one. So far, every episode is just knocking it out of the park, and I'm so enjoying this. So with that said, you guys, comment below. Let me know what you think. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next reaction. You guys take care.